My training consultant with the Law Enforcement Innovation Center and the National Forensics Academy. And my compadre here, Jason Jones. Jason? Usually there's just a round of applause, and I've got a couple of minutes to wait till it dies down. Before I start, I should probably tell you I wore a bow tie. I asked some people in the class if I should wear a bow tie, and they said, yeah, you should wear a bow tie. And they had a weird look, and I'm like, nah, sure, I have to wear a bow tie. And so then I ran it by Jason, and I said, Jason, what do you think, bow tie? And he said, yeah, you should wear a bow tie. That's going to look awesome. I won't make fun of you. So I put on the bow tie, and it lasted about 2 seconds, and he just, there's lots of things. So it's kind of my never-ending people from UT Martin, Chancellor Keith Garber, right? What does he do? He has 3 things that I think he's famous for. One, he wears a bow tie everywhere, every day. What's another thing? He's got a shaved head. So those 2 things. The other thing that I know that he does, and maybe some of you will know this, if you follow him on Instagram, he can get into his car doing a handstand. So I'm working on it. I had to change my jacket because it got dirty doing that, but I'm getting closer to it. So that's kind of where we are. So I want to welcome everybody. We have 30 people here that showed up to accept this challenge from the National Forensic Academy, and you guys killed it. I'm very proud of everything that you did while you were here. Before we get going, I want to introduce some of the people that we have here that have shown up. Dr. Herbert III is trying to get here. He is the Vice President of the Institute for Public Service. So if he comes in a little bit late, that's who he's going to be. He'll say a few words. And then we have Rick Scarborough, who is the Director of Law Enforcement Innovation Center. And we have Dr. Brian Donovan from UT Martin. And then we have Dave Clark, who's going to say a few words later on, District Attorney. And then we have Dr. Danny Purtle over there, also from UT Martin. Thanks, guys, for showing up. Appreciate it. And of course, Jason Jones.
Not well deserved, I can't say.
And then also came in Dr. Jeff Lindsay in the back. He's the program manager over the National Forensic Academy, so it kind of gives you the idea of where we all are. And we'll have people in here that will kind of explain how the Institute for Public Service works through the Law Enforcement Innovation Center, through the National Forensic Academy. So I won't take everything away from you. I'll give you a little bit. So also I want to thank the instructors that came through. I'd like to thank some of them more than others. First, Dan Anselman. You didn't send that out, did you? Okay, good. Okay, we had, so he talked about week 1, just kind of give you a rundown of what they've done through the weeks. Week 1 is kind of a crime scene management, photography. We do some impression evidence, some tire evidence, some diagramming, so just a whole lot of fun. Okay, and evidently they like to clap whenever you say his name, so I will never say it again. And then we started off week 2 with Brian Cochran and Mike Ford from Boone County, Kentucky, who taught 2 days of latent print development and a half day of DNA. So those 2 guys are great. Brian Cochran's just kind of he can do anything out of nothing. We call him the MacGyver because you give him a challenge and he'll reach in his back pocket, go to Walmart, come out, and he'll do amazing things. So we had those 2, and then we had the anthropology section, and this was the one where people learned a little bit about themselves and about others, and what they thought about what they wanted to do with their lives. So it was a very important couple of days. We had Dr. Arbat Bass, Dr. Melissa Mundell, Amy Pham, and Shannon Derry. So that was whenever they did you may have seen the photos from there where they did their remains recovery. So that was a fun couple of days. And then we had Bruce Willis and Katrina Willis from Georgia that came up and shoot reconstruction and bloodstained pattern analysis. Kind of finished it up, and these guys kind of accepted the challenge, fought through it, and it was pretty amazing. Had a great time. And I want to give special thanks to Dr. Bill Bass also, who came in for lunchtime. So we had a lunchtime gathering, and if you don't know Dr. Bill Bass, just kind of, Jason and I were adding up all the years of experience of all the instructors, and from the instructors we had, there was over 200 years of experience. And then we didn't add Dr. Bass in there because he's got about 60 years experience, or probably more like 70. So it didn't seem fair to do that. But they got to meet Dr. Bass. And also, whenever you get done, we do have a class photo that Dr. Bass signed for you, so you have that. Oh, man, this is the best. And let me just tell you, he came in, and I mean, he does all of our classes. He'll do a lunch presentation. He'll do a lot of things. He's just an amazing guy. And after it was over, he has never really told us how much, that he really enjoyed it. He always has kind of fun. He gets to meet people, tell stories. But he was just really thrilled with you guys. I mean, you guys really made him feel comfortable, feel at home, feel happy. So thanks for that. Him and Carol, but that was great. So we had 30 people that came in and accepted the challenge and made it to this day. So congratulations. So what I wanted to kind of bring up is one thing that the guy that I teach with, Howie Ryan out of New Jersey State Police, he's retired, that does our shoot reconstruction during the NFA. One thing that he always talks about is what a great job forensics is, because you get to go under the yellow tape. Everybody wants to go under the yellow tape. I mean, people that are standing outside the yellow tape know that there's magical things happening under the yellow tape, and everybody wants to be there. So I'm kind of giving you that challenge to encourage you to become that person that can go under the yellow tape. So hopefully that happens. If it does happen, keep in touch with us. We have had numerous people that have gone through or at least a few of them that have gone through the collegiate program and have also followed up and gone through the NFA also. So for the people that don't know, the National Forensic Academy is a 10-week program that we do for law enforcement all across the world. We've had some from 49 states, Kuwait, Republic of Georgia, Iceland, we get them from Germany, so we've had them all over the place. So getting to come in for that's a pretty unique experience. The last class we had a person that went through the collegiate program, went through that, and ended up getting the Dr. Bass Award. So, I mean, again, that's pretty amazing. So from that point, kind of working through, whenever I worked for Knoxville Police Department for over 28 years, and one thing that I would ask in interviews, you can kind of take this with you and use it how you want, but what I would ask in interviews, whenever I wanted somebody to come in and work forensics, there were two things I wanted to know. One was, what experience do you have dealing with a dead body? Because how somebody can react to that will determine how long they'll last. So that's number one. The second thing is, I would want to know, give me an example of you working with a team and tell me some of the issues that came up and how you handled them. So for you guys, you went to the body farm, you went as a team, you collected human remains. So you're able to kill that question with one story. So both of those things kind of work together. So if you translate that into any interviews, just thinking through that process, if somebody's going to be a good interviewer for you to work in forensics, those are probably two things they're going to ask you. So be ready for that. Other thing is, I wanted to bring up one thing, and they didn't want me to do this, which made me think that we're going to have to do that here. So we do little games and little challenges throughout the class where they do presentations and we give them stuff. One thing that we did not give away was a challenge point for a challenge that Mike created whenever we did the fingerprint section. So we have fingerprints that pop up on the screen. They all stand up. Everybody said that we have a game. I call it match or no match. Pretty unique because the fingerprints are either a match or no match. I thought long and hard with that. I ran it through Jason. He told me, he said, that's a great name for it. Go with that. Don't applaud. Just acknowledge Jason. That's all he wants. So we go through all these fingerprints and you just see people kind of dropping out because the fingerprints are horrible. They're very difficult. But we had 2 people that made it to the end and tied. So we have challenge points for them with a nice skull on them. We don't just give these out to anybody. So the first one goes to Carly Williams. So I wanted to give congratulations to Session 10 of the National Forensic Academy Collegiate Program, and let you know that Jason and I will be around. You have our phone number, you have our contacts. If you have anything that you ever need at any time, don't hesitate to call Jason or me. But Jason loves talking to people, so he'll give you some down home acknowledgement, advice. It'll be amazing. With that, I would like to introduce the next speaker. And the next speaker is going to be Dr. Brian Donovan.
So that was a trick play. I just want to really welcome everyone here, especially, well, there's 2 especially. One is especially the students that have really put in a lot of sweat and tears and blood and all that stuff, and really work hard for the last 3 weeks. And the other are the rest of you who are supporting it, family members, friends that come here today. I can't tell you what that means to me, what it means to the LEIC staff to see the support that you're giving your students. But I also probably can't tell you what it means to them. To know that they have your support, not only in getting them here, but also celebrating this day with them. So I really would encourage the members of the class to show your friends and family that you appreciate that support. I just want to say a couple of words, but as I do this, I want the members of the class to keep in mind 2 numbers. One is 620,000. 620,000, keep that in mind. And also keep in mind 213. We'll come back to that in just a moment. But I do have a question for you. I made you a promise when we got together on Sunday afternoon when we first got to Oak Ridge. And I just want to see was I right. Are y'all tired?
Yes.
I tell every class that comes in that they're in for a very exciting 3 weeks, but they're also going to be probably pretty exhausted at the end of it. And just to put this in perspective, what these students have done in 3 weeks is equivalent to a full semester during an academic year. And to do that in 3 weeks is phenomenal in and of itself. But when you also consider that many of them have traveled literally across the country to be here, they're in unfamiliar territory. They're here with people they've never met before, people they don't know. They're in an unfamiliar place. Many of them, it's the first time they've ever been to Tennessee, or even if they're from Tennessee, maybe they've never been to Oak Ridge. So you put all of those unfamiliar pieces together, that's a monumental undertaking. And these folks have really risen to a level that sets them apart. Y'all are probably not going to remember much of what I say here today, and that's probably a good thing. But I do want to encourage you with just a little bit of something to take back and to help you maybe put in perspective what you've done while you're here. We began this program, started planning for this program 12 years ago. This program was 2 years in the making, in development. We were very fortunate to work with our partners at LEIC to develop this. But it took us 2 years to put this together. And y'all are the 10th class of a program that for 2 years, just about everybody we spoke with outside of the people that had a dream, told us that it wouldn't work. Said that this program was not feasible, it was too expensive, and think that way, some of you might still think it's a little bit pricey. But I think you're getting great value for it. But just the logistics of such a program for college students was just not a feasible undertaking. And y'all have really demonstrated that it is. Again, we had our first class in 2012, and you were the 10th class to graduate from this program. And it's the largest class to graduate from this program. We have some repeat visiting universities represented here. We have some new folks with us. So I think that's a great testimony to the program in which you've been a part of. But the thing I want you to take away from this is how special you are. All of you have career paths ahead of you. Some of you came into this program and said, I know I want to go into forensics and crime scene investigation, and you've been here, you have really solidified that, and I talked to you last night at dinner, and you said, yes, I love this is what I'm going to do, this has been great, and I'm just so excited to have been here to really ramp up what I'm going to do. Others of you got here thinking the same thing, and you found that maybe you might take a little bit different path, and that's okay. I've been in and out with the class over the last 3 weeks, and during the past week, most of the time I've been here in Knoxville at the State Chiefs Association Conference, and had occasion to meet people that I have known, many of them I haven't even seen in 25 or 30 years. Since we were both young, since we were young patrolmen together working in a patrol car, answering calls for service, and now they're chiefs of police and commanders and on-command staffs. And our pathways have taken a very different route. The first time that we had a graduation ceremony for the collegiate program, I shared the stage with with Mark Wynn, who at the time was the director of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. And what was interesting about that was it's the first time I had seen Mark in 30 years. The time I had seen him before that, the last time we saw each other was as we walked across the stage at the State Police Academy for graduation, when we were young patrol officers graduating from the Cadet Academy, representing different agencies. Our paths had gone very different routes, and we came back together 30 years later. The reason I bring that up is all of you are at the beginning of your careers. You don't know where those may take you. But when you look back 20 or 30 years from now, and you look back on your career, you might, and I feel pretty confident saying this, be amazed at where you have been. But what's going to make the difference, just like all those folks I saw at the Chiefs Conference, just like Director Gwynn, just like all these folks that you're going to hear from today, who have been in the field, criminal justice field, in various capacities for their careers, the difference is that those folks that are successful and can look back over a successful career are the same folks that have dared to take a chance when an opportunity presents itself. That's what sets them apart. That's what sets each one of you apart. Because you were part of a program that not many people participated in. You made a huge investment in money, and in time, and in energy to be here. You saw an opportunity, you took a chance, you had an idea what it might represent or what it might involve, but you really didn't know. But you were willing to get outside your comfort zone and take that chance. You have within you what it takes to be successful and to set yourself apart during your upcoming careers. And if you take nothing else away from this program, take away the confidence and the knowledge that you're special and that you can succeed in whatever you put your mind to do. Now, coming back to those two numbers that I mentioned to you a moment ago, 620,000. Anybody in the class want to take a guess as to what that number represents? No guesses? Okay. Each year in the United States, about 62,000 degrees in criminal justice are awarded by colleges and universities. 62,000 every year. So in the 10 years of this program, doing math real quick, okay, about 620,000 criminal justice degrees have been awarded across the United States. During that same period of time, with today's graduating class, 213 students that are criminal justice students have graduated from this program. How special does that make you? Put a little math to it. Each one of you is in the top 3/10,000ths of 1% of all criminal justice graduates in the country, as far as having the credentials and the special experience that you have that you just completed here today.
Let that sink in. The top 3 10,000ths of 1%. Every one of you has the capacity, or you demonstrated your capacity to succeed and to do something special. And I hope what you'll take away from this today is the knowledge and the confidence that you can make that happen. So congratulations and great job.
Okay, now in no particular order, evidently, I introduce our director, Bruce Parker.
Yeah, I thought that's a mic drop on. I can't follow. Can't say enough about Donovan and everybody in Team Martin. He's one of us. He's one of us, and I've been over. We spent the night with him this week. Over Tennessee police chiefs are in town, and Knoxville, the annual conference is going there. Listen, a lot of speakers over there as well. Classes we're offering right now, training we're offering. With COVID's recession and folks getting out traveling, everybody's excited. We have a lot of training we want to offer, and we have been incredibly busy. I'm telling you, last week I took vacation. Okay, I did. Ed Clark was born and reared in Anderson County. He's a graduate of Oak Ridge High School, received his Bachelor of Arts, MBA, and Doctor of Jurisprudence degrees from the University of Tennessee. He practiced law in Nashville for 4 years before returning home and opened a private practice firm in 1993. He served as a special judge, was elected to the position of Anderson County Attorney, he was elected in 1998 and again in 2002. He was first elected District Attorney General in 2006 and re-elected in 2014. As District Attorney General, he's the Chief Law Enforcement Officer for the 7th Judicial District. Prior to his election as District Attorney, he practiced law and served as Anderson County Attorney for 2 terms. They and his wife Josephine have, who's also a master's judge, they have 2 adult children. I'd like to introduce to you, again, my friend, and District Attorney for Anderson County, Tennessee, Dave Clark.
Thank you, guys. It's exciting to be here with you. Obviously, I'm kind of a hometown guy. And because of that, I have a little different experience with NFA, crime scene investigations that I thought I would share with you. That I think is applicable whether you're from Knoxville, Oak Ridge, or Kalamazoo, Michigan, or we have for folks that are trained as experts in crime scene investigations. There is a tremendous opportunity and a tremendous need here and across our country with this field. It's exciting, it's evolving, it evolves quickly, but I can't think of it now when the needs of the country so closely align with the program that you've shown interest in. And I hope many of you will make career choices along these lines. Let me explain what I mean. We have a problem in that what we see on TV and on movies doesn't align with what's happening in the real world too often. Now, that may come as a familiar tune, but in this area, it's particularly true. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But in the field, among our law enforcement officers, just as you heard Dr. Donovan explain how rare this training is among criminal justice makers, it exists in the field. The kind of training and exposure that you have had is something that most of our police officers, many of our detectives don't have. And when they talk about that yellow crime scene tape, I have seen, fortunately, NFA graduates arrive at the scene. And in the minutes prior, everyone wondering, where is Joe or Sally or Sam or Jane, the NFA graduate? Because everybody is depending on that person to arrive. And the seas literally part when that person shows up at the crime scene. They have tremendous respect among their peers because they do tremendous work that other people can't do and that we just just don't have enough crime scene experts in our country, and we need them now more than ever. Our society, and as represented on the juries that I am here in front of, expect what they see on television and what they see in movies. They expect us to be able to produce a clear photograph that depicts the evidence. They expect us to be able to take a print of a boot in snow. They expect us to have DNA, blood evidence. They expect us to have accurate crime scene diagrams. If we don't have those things, the truth of the matter is the defense attorney is doing their job. And they're going to spend the trial saying, where is the DNA evidence? My person's not guilty, there's no DNA. And the answer that we didn't know how to collect it, we didn't know how to find it, we collected it, but we didn't preserve it properly. We preserved it properly, but we didn't analyze it accurately. Those answers don't get it. Those answers result in guilty people going free and victims and victims' families suffering knowing that they were denied justice because we couldn't meet the expectations of society and the jury. That's the bottom line, and it's happening. All of these shows and movies have raised the level of performance, and we are struggling to catch up. LEIC, NFA, and your program have come along just at the right time to try and help us respond. And that's why we're all excited to see young people interested in making this a career field, because we need it. Used to, back when I first started, but really that was a waning era of it, a police officer could get on the stand, smartly dressed in their uniform, taking the oath as a neutral community servant, and testify that someone said something and it was accepted by everyone, and it was accepted by society. Those days are gone, at least for now. And when a police officer stands up and says, I saw what looked like blood to me. It was a reddish brown stain. I didn't collect it, but I believe it was blood. That just isn't accepted the way it used to be. We need police officers need that evidence to be collected and analyzed. We need scientific evidence. We need clear evidence, photographs, measurements, to help bolster the credibility of police officers, when in the past that wasn't necessary, but it is today, because their testimony is not afforded the same credibility or significance by jurors or society that it has been in the past. And finally, we need results that accuracy and evidence produce. You all may not have been introduced to the concept of the thin blue line, but there's a reason that law enforcement refers to that thin blue line. Why is it thin? Well, the reality is that our control, our social control, the rules that we all live by, the assumption that we're going to walk down the sidewalk and the person approaching us isn't going to hit us in the face is built upon a bit of an illusion that we are all part of a social contract and we're all going to comply with that contract. But that's breaking down a little bit. We've watched it break down in the last few years, and it's continuing to happen. COVID has made it worse as the courts have been closed. I can tell you that the criminals in our community in the little corner of Tennessee that I'm responsible for have lost much of the apprehension that the rules apply to them. Because without strong evidence, without forensics, without operating courts, the illusion of the control of our social contract breaks down. From the criminal on the street, it goes like this. I ain't scared, you can't do nothing to me. And if courts are backlogged and we aren't able to deliver results justice in the courtroom through evidence and strong cases, that's the conclusion that criminals draw. You can't do nothing to me. The implication of that's pretty dangerous for us as a society. Crime goes up because this illusion, that thin blue line, the 6 officers that are patrolling Oak Ridge this afternoon in a town of 27,000 really can't maintain social order if most people don't believe that we're all agreeing to abide by these laws. And so we need strong cases, we need strong evidence so that when we do go to trial, we can produce justice. And so that everyone knows that justice is coming, whether that is the victim's family, it's the average citizen on the street, or it's the criminal that's trying to decide if they are going to try and commit a crime. Are they going to get caught? What are the risks of getting caught? If they get caught, are they going to get prosecuted? If they're prosecuted, are they going to prison? That calculation goes through their mind.
Now, before we spoke, I want him to convince you himself. Before I came to work here, I was a police chief for 16 years. I was fortunate for 14 of those to serve with him across the street from us and from our police department. And I think anything he's convinced you what a great advocate he is for law enforcement, and what a great advisor he can be to me. I try to lead the police department. And thank you very much, sir.
As far as principle of exchange, what is that? Yes?
Whenever you enter practice, you always leave what is on it.
Okay, so whenever you enter a place, you leave something behind of yourself, and wherever you leave, you always take something in that place with you, right? Very important in criminal investigations, but it's also important in life. The University of Tennessee is the state's main branch institution. It's been said before that literally the state of Tennessee is our campus. We have primary educational campuses in several regions of the state. We also have the Institute for Public Service that provides outreach and helps us reach communities with the things that come out of the university, and also gathers expertise to share that from other sources. As a whole, the University of Tennessee impacts just about everyone in Tennessee and a lot of folks beyond. We're very fortunate here to have such a resource. We're excited that we can share that resource with all of you, both our homegrown students and those that have chosen to come to be our guests for these past 3 weeks. And we do consider everyone who goes through this program, even though you're going back somewhere else to get one of those 62,000 degrees from another institution, we consider every one of you University of Tennessee alumni because you're part of this program. You're always going to be part of this program. As the students went about their work over the last 3 weeks at LEIC's facility, up and down the hallway are plaques representing every class that has completed and graduated from the National Forensic Academy, both the 10-week professional program and the previous 9 sessions of the collegiate program. And what those plaques represent, not only do they leave a lasting reminder of the folks that have been here before you, but they represent that the program that you have enjoyed these past 3 weeks that you're going to take with you, they represent that program is an evolving program. This is not the same program that began for the collegiate students 10 years ago. It's not the same program that began in 2001 with the NFA. It has evolved, it has grown, it has improved, and in large part it has grown and evolved and improved because of the people, the participants that have gone through it, just as you have. So you're all benefiting from those that came before you. They left something here. As you leave, you're going to take something with you, and you're going to leave a legacy behind that we're going to build on for future classes. Those plaques represent all of that. The collegiate program is a unique partnership within the University of Tennessee between the Martin campus and the Institute for Public Service, and more specifically the Law Enforcement Innovation Center. We're very proud of that. And as part of that unique program, this program has 2 plaques. One that will hang in the NFA LEIC facility, and another that will be displayed on the Martin campus in the building where the criminal justice program is housed. because it represents that partnership. So I want you to just kind of think for a moment about what that means. As we go over here, and I'm going to remove the cover to show you your class plaque. We encourage you to come up and look at it. Remember what it represents, certainly take some photographs with it before you leave. I will say this, it's a little precarious on the easel, so please don't knock it off. So, Tim, we're going to hang out some hardware.
Yes, absolutely.
Jackson, come up there.
Students, I'd like to ask Steve Area from Florida State University. Bill, California State University. Rachel Blum, University of Tennessee at Martin. Alan Bolton, University of Tennessee at Martin. Grace Bryant, Boise State University. Devin Cantor, Michigan State University. Andrew Coe, Westfield State University. Adriana Crocker, Ashland University. Marissa Crosswell, University of Tennessee at Martin. John Eisenberg, Middle Tennessee State University. University of Tennessee at Martin. Cody Maxwell, Eureka College. Jordan McClure, University of Arkansas. McLeod, Texas Christian University. Alexis Pelican, Stockton University. Agnes Prawl, Iowa State University. Shauna Brooke Sanders, University of Arkansas. University of North Georgia. Moore, University of Tennessee, Martin. Kimberly Snyder, Middle Tennessee State University. Middle Tennessee State University. Vincent, Michigan State University. Williams, Illinois State University. Jason Wong, University of Illinois Chicago. Chelsea Wyckoff, Eureka College. Ashley Yoakum, University of Tennessee, Martin. With that, I'd like to congratulate Section 10 on the collegiate program.
Last class picture before you leave, and after that.
Yeah, no, internet here and your
we're gonna take a couple of pictures, so. Let's see. Okay, no more laughter, just like in class, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, one more, okay? Are your calves cramping up?
Yep.
Mine too, I get it. Okay, on 3, 1, 2. Okay.
No, I don't care. I just want to get a picture. Can you move over? Yeah, there's a glare on it, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's just the way it is.
That's what it is.